Under the provisions of Title II of the 1950 Internal Security Act, also known as the McCarran Act, the President of the United States of America is still authorized, without further approval by Congress, to determine an event of insurrection within the United States and to declare the existence of an internal security emergency. The President is then authorized to apprehend and detain each person as to whom there is reasonable ground to believe probably will engage in certain future acts of sabotage. Persons apprehended shall be given a hearing without right of bail, without the necessity of evidence, and shall then be confined to places of detention.
KBCR News, the Southland's most comprehensive news coverage. The President today signed an executive order calling to immediate duty 100,000 reservists. Pentagon sources indicate that at least 20,000 of these newly mobilized troops would be sent to the Northeast Asian area in response to the shelling of Seoul, the capital of South Korea, last week. The sources gave no further indication as to how the remaining reservists might be used. It was neither confirmed nor denied that they would be made available to local law enforcement officials to deal with the current domestic disorders. At least 273 Americans were reported killed and a further 492 wounded. A task force of 30,000 U.S., Cambodian, Australian, and South Korean soldiers drove deep yesterday into the Hill 98 and Whalesback regions of Laos in an attack described as the heaviest so far since the war was extended.
Patrick John Edwards, you have been found guilty of conspiracy to undermine the national security and intent to incite to riot. You are hereby sentenced to serve from 15 to 21 years in a federal penitentiary. You have the alternative of undergoing 4 days in Punishment Park. How do you choose?
I'd first like to thank the court first for its fairness.
Defendant, silence. How do you choose?
Punishment Park.
Time, 9 a.m. The Bear Mountain National Punishment Park in Southern California.
Right there. Stop. You right behind him. Right there. You over there. Next man. Okay, that woman there. The last man in line. Okay, we're going into the tent.
47th Emergency Internal Security Tribunal for the Southwestern Region, as authorized by Executive Order Number 302, William C. Holger, Chairman, presiding, is hereby concluded.
The United Nations today became the focus of world attention as the U.S. delegate challenged the Russians to admit that their missile-carrying submarines have moved into the Caribbean. He made it clear that the U.S. will tolerate no threats to its sovereignty, and he accused the Soviets of trying to divert world attention from their actions in the Middle East. After heated discussion, the U.S. delegate indicated that the actions of the communist bloc had been responsible for the tripling of our monthly draft calls. He denied the Russian delegate's accusation that the U.S. government is building up a large standing army for the suppression of its own people.
You like your job of flattering young people?
Senator George McLewis resigned from the Senate today after 22 years of active service. He said in a press conference shortly after he walked from the Senate floor that he could no longer participate in what he called the dismantling of basic freedoms for which this country was established. In a prepared statement, he mentioned specifically the types of, quote, repressive, unquote, legislation which led to his sudden resignation. These included the no-knock laws, stop and frisk laws, cancellation of immunity for Fifth Amendment cases, preventative detention, the activation of detention camps, and the establishment of quasi-judicial tribunals. He said that he was particularly disturbed by the reported activities in the punishment parks.
Marshal will now bring the 48th session of the tribunal to order. 48th Emergency Internal Security Tribunal of the Southwestern Region, as authorized by Executive Order Number 302, is now in session. William C. Holger, Chairman, presiding.
Chairman, report.
Motion for dismissal at this time.
Dismissal on what grounds?
Constitutional. In particular, 1st, 4th, 5th, and 14th Amendments.
Motion overruled.
How the fuck you gonna overrule the Constitution?
Defense, keep the defendant silent.
Then if it please the court, I'd like to introduce a motion to have each of the defendant's convictions reviewed separately.
Denied.
In that case, and with all due respect to the court's identity as a tribunal, may I move that the court permit some equivalent of voir dire proceedings.
Denied.
Will the court set bail? Some of these defendants have been in jail now for months without being sentenced.
We don't even know what we're arrested for.
Keep the defense quiet. Keep the defendants quiet. Bail denied.
Yeah, deny. That's all the fuck you can do.
We're in jail for 2 months, and we don't even know what we were arrested for.
Marshal, keep the defendants quiet. Leroy Brown, Jay Kaufman, James Arthur Kohler, Allison Mitchner, Charles Robbins, Nancy Smith, William Valerie. You stand here guilty of the grievous charge of conspiracy to undermine the national security and of separate charges which will be enumerated as so indicted and convicted at the preliminary hearings of the 5th Emergency Court of the 44th Precinct in the District of Glendale. Captain Edward Rubin, Sheriff's Department, presiding, May 24th of this year.
Temperature 89 degrees.
At the time of your sentencing, you will be able to choose between a penal sentence duly passed or accept the alternative of Punishment Park.
Punishment Park, described by the U.S. Senate Subcommittee on Law and Order as a necessary training for the law officers and National Guard of the country in the control of those elements who seek the violent overthrow of the United States government and the means of providing a punitive deterrent for said subversive elements.
You will speak only when you are spoken to and at no other times. Each violation of this ruling will result in a citation for contempt of court of 1 year in a federal penitentiary in addition to sentence duly passed. Finally, I wish to announce that we have with us at this time television film cameras of the national network, also those of Britain and West Germany. It is hereby hoped to document these proceedings and their results in the widest possible manner, as we know their import to be of vital concern to the people of the free world everywhere. Their coverage will be impartial.
Bullshit. This trial is illegitimate. This trial is illegitimate, and it will be exposed by it is.
These are the members of Corrective Group 638. And these, the members of Corrective Group 637, now sentenced to spending 3 days in Punishment Park.
First defendant.
What's your name? What's your name? My name is Brown, motherfucker.
Lee Robert Brown, well-known author, broadcaster, and political activist.
I want to be tried by a jury of my peers. That means black in front of witnesses who identify themselves. In person. Witnesses. Here.
Keep the defendant silent. Restrain the defendant.
No end in sight for the heat wave, which has been frying Los Angeles and California for the past 3.5 months. Temperatures today will top 100 degrees for the 12th straight day in downtown Los Angeles, with the valley due for 105. Tonight's low will be 79 degrees. Deserts can expect mercury readings of 115 degrees plus.
You have accepted this course of your own volition as an alternative to your penal sentences. You understand you have 3 days and 2 nights in which to reach the United States flag flying 4.5 miles due north of the Bear Shadow Mountains. These you can see to your front. These mountains are 16.5 miles from the spot where you are standing. You will direct yourselves toward the area bounded by the indicating lights. Pursuit leader to 245, pursuit leader to 245. Ready your signal. You will head past this point, immediately turn west, that is to your left, and proceed 13 to 17 miles along the line of the mountains until you reach the saddle indicated by a second set of flags. There you will turn due north, cross the intervening plain, pass directly through the following range of hills. A further distance of 19 miles and proceed directly to the United States flag.
Mr. Brown, did you actually advocate overthrow of our United States? Mr. Brown?
I refuse to answer that question on the grounds that it may tend to incriminate me. That's my right under the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution, and overrule that.
Defendant is people like you, defendants like you with your...
Objections, Mr. Chairman.
Counsel, sit down.
Let that man alone.
The object of this course is simple. You must evade capture by the pursuing law enforcement officers and reach the flag by the appointed time. That is to say, 10 o'clock on the evening of the third day from now.
You must democracy, man.
Clear the tribunal. Clear the tribunal.
Your capture or your failure to complete the course within the given limit of time will result in the reversion to your penal sentence.
And are you or are you not a communist or a member of the Communist Party?
Objections.
Hey, man, I'll answer that motherfucking question.
What's your language?
You think my language is immoral?
Answer the question.
What do you call that shit you just did, man? What do you call this shit here?
Klein, give your sidearm to Cepeda and go unlock the prisoners.
Were you going to call for revolution on that television?
What do you want me to say? I just told you the truth.
Were you going to call for revolution?
What'd you do?
The truth as you saw it?
I would tell the truth.
You could have a better country than
I would
you're
tell the
living
story
in
of
right
black
now.
people like it has never been told in this country, because you never tell it, because they never tell it. I would say what happens to Chicanos in this country, because the fruit growers ain't gonna tell it, and it's either they or members of their club who buys the time on that television set. I would tell what happened to people who are poor and uneducated and automated out of a job and who stand in long fucking lines talking to little people like you with delusions of power and unemployment lines all day long to be fucked off because your old man didn't ball you right last night. You got a case
What's your
of
language
ass.
as a lady in a court?
Where? The truth is the fact that you're devouring your children. The truth is the fact that you're oppressing the people who are powerless in the country. The truth is the fact that a few of the people in this country are living on the benefit. You want to listen or you want to talk?
Continue, Mr. Brown. Tell us your message.
You don't want to hear my message, man.
We want to hear your
You
message.
don't want to hear my
caught some of
message. You
it.
spent 50 years evolving a propaganda system that'll take the truth and change it into what you want to hear. You don't want to hear shit that's going to mean you might have to give up something. You don't want it. All you want to do is sit on your fat dividend drawing ass and draw dividends.
You see how I react to the name that you called me? I didn't react like as your people just reacted moments ago, did I? You called me pig, another name. Did I react like that?
You're in a very fortunate position, man. All I can do to you is call you a dirty name.
These officers have strict instructions not to molest you in any way. Or to in any way hinder you from reaching your ultimate destination. However, they will not allow you to leave the boundary of the course.
It has been stated, and it's a fact. There are more color television sets and automobiles owned by black people in the United States than all of Russia together.
So what?
That shows a very intense interest in the economics of this country and your people.
Suppose nobody
They
in
do
Russia
have.
owned a car. What would the statistics mean?
They have a standard of living that's better than any in the world.
Hey, man, you can say an identical thing for every animal in the zoo. I'm sure their standard of living has increased. They certainly eat a fucking lot better.
The time is now 9:54 a.m. At 10 you will commence the course. At 12 noon, that's to say 2 hours from now, the pursuit forces will be set in motion against you. Today's pursuit force will consist of a unit of the National Guard, part of the Tactical Riot Squad of the City Police Department, and 3 federal marshals.
At the Cinco de Mayo Congress of Chicano Youth, the defendant was quoted as saying, "To you I say, free your communities, arm yourselves. If pigs comprehend nothing but force, then use it. Liberate yourself. Off the pigs, kill the chief pig, liquidate the mayor, the governor, etc."
Why don't you read the rest of it?
That's
Why don't
treason,
you
Mr.
read
Chairman.
the rest of it?
That is
Anybody can lift that
treason.
shit out of context.
You had your chance to speak. Let Agent Donovan finish
This
his
is all we
statement.
have on this clause.
Pig Donovan.
This man is writing things calling for violence, calling for the destruction of this country, and is doing more than just for himself. His people are going out and spreading this all over the place, all over the country. In my very factory where I work, all kinds of people are reading his stuff. It's all over the place. Mainly the colored people are reading it. And he's just stirring them up, talking about legitimate problems that we have, and just trying to pose as violent alternatives to it.
You talk as if this is some great civilized, nonviolent place. And it ain't. America is as psychotic as it is powerful, and violence is the only goddamn thing that will command your attention.
Thank you.
Well, all right, you goddamn!
This country, this America, was born in violence. I mean, revolutions are violent things. I'm in this place right now because my people, my forebears, were violently brought here like this in chains from Africa, where they were violently made to work. It was upon the labor of their backs that you so violently run out of them that this country was industrialized right away, right at first. This land that we're standing on and all the rest that belongs to the country was violently taken from the Indians. Violently.
Time 10:03 a.m. Temperature 91 degrees.
Now go straight down the hill. Move in my direction.
Time remaining before the beginning of the pursuit. 2 hours.
Can I have another one of these cigarettes, please? Well, you've been taking those cigarettes off me all day.
Distance to the United States flag, 53 miles.
They made their choice. They made their choice. They could have done a lot of things, but they chose to, throw fire bombs and conspire to violently overthrow the government. Fine, that's their choice. They're doing what they want to do. I'm doing what I want to do.
Bastard take off down there? That little Mexican's the fastest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Time remaining before the beginning of the police pursuit. 1 hour and 53 minutes.
You know, those kids out there running scared, man. Everybody's running scared.
If they wouldn't break the law in the first place, they wouldn't have to run scared.
Maybe they don't know what the law is, Captain.
Everybody knows what he's got to take the consequences for it. If he doesn't want to take the consequences for it, let him think before he acts.
In order to provide what is termed further motivation, this group have been told that they will find water halfway to the American flag.
I think he's in for some real bad stuff. I don't know.
You really got a hard on for that dude, huh?
I don't have a hard on for him. He's got one for everybody. He's got one for the world. So fuck him. If that's the way he wants to play, that's the way we'll play.
A word about violence. These next 3 days will be only as violent as you want them to be. Your capture, should that occur, will be as peaceful as you want it to be. An officer will announce to you that you are apprehended and that your participation in the course is concluded. Should you resist the arrest, or should any of you adopt violence in any form during the course, then we shall use those means against you. In short, you can start the violent actions if you so choose, but I assure you that we will finish them.
Let's take a minute and get out of here. I'm staying.
I'm staying too.
Oh, you gonna stay and play? You gonna stay and play Super Spook, huh?
I'm staying. Who's staying?
That man gonna shoot the shit out of you. They gonna kill us.
You gotta break out sideways then, otherwise there's no chance. No chance.
I'm gonna hide out.
Listen, I don't know about the rest of you people, but this bullshit's got to end. I ain't leaving another motherfucking step.
I'm staying.
I'm gonna kill a fucking pig. Hey, that's not gonna do any good. So you're gonna bring them down on all of us. Shit, then you forget that. Shit, you don't think they're down on you now? At least you got a chance. Chance, man. You got 50 miles of no chance.
You're gonna go out there and run through that fucking desert and play target practice for them fucking pigs.
What's that?
Listen, in 2 hours we can get lost out there. Now that's the only chance we got. You stay here, they're gonna be on you in 5 minutes. That's it.
You couldn't make it in the heat if there were no police.
I'll stay stay.
Water out there.
They got water.
You know that there's
We
water
can't
out
stay.
there.
That's our only chance. You stay here, they're gonna be on you in 5 minutes. They're just over that hill.
You're a marksman.
Yeah.
A sniper.
A marksman.
What do you mean you can't stay here? Why not?
We gotta get
Come
out
in.
of here.
The ones that are gonna go gotta go right now. I mean, we can't wait.
Right.
If you're gonna stay here and do a thing with the cops, do it. But you're gonna get us killed if you do.
Have you ever killed a man? Yeah. J. Kaufman, co-founder of the National Committee Against War and Repression, age 28. Time remaining 1 hour and 42 minutes.
Preferred for the very simple reason that this thing loaded with magnum loads has got enough knockdown power to knock down a rhinoceros if it's coming at you. Now, I'm sure that we're going to be apprehending very few rhinoceri, but if we happen to come into one, I want to know darn well that I'm going to be able to stop it.
I see by your file here that you were formerly a candidate for Vice President of the United States.
That's correct.
Also, it shows that you were very
See how much I
successful.
believed in your system?
Make your answers brief.
Okay. Well,
You say you're against war and depression. What type of depression? A depression of the,
no, I said
people's depression or depression of
no,
economics?
I'm not talking about depression. I'm talking about repression.
All right.
Repression. Being oppressed.
What? What were you charged with?
Draft evasion and I don't know what they call it, hindering the war effort.
Are you for war or against war?
I'm for war if it's necessary to protect our
country. Do you
country.
condone this war that
Naturally, being a member of the...
Do you condone the war in Vietnam, sir?
Pardon me?
Do you condone the war in Vietnam?
Certainly.
You do? Why?
Why?
Yes.
Because it's protecting our country.
And who tells you this?
Would you like us to have them come over here and fight us? Would you fight them?
Who tells you that this war is protecting your country?
We're fighting communism.
Well, who tells you this, sir?
Well, I hear it every day.
I gather that you're not going to try and make the next 50 miles to the United States flag.
I wouldn't walk around the goddamn fucking corner for American flag. Let alone go out in the desert.
Time remaining 1 hour and 25 minutes.
Squeeze and fire.
We're going through a kind of a group suicide here in America.
In a situation where you want to fire 2 shots, you want to fire 2 shots rapid fire, pull the hammer back, fire the first shot off single action, and then follow it up.
Have you any idea how you're going to try and complete these 50 miles?
I have no idea. We're just going to keep on.
Keep going.
You know the difference between a patriot and a chauvinist?
A whom?
A patriot and a chauvinist?
A chauvinist?
Yes.
Define the word chauvinist to me. I'd like to know
Define the word chauvinist. Chauvin was an officer under Napoleon, and his loyalty was so absurd that we got the word chauvin, which is chauvinistic, which is an absurd loyalty.
They promised us water at the other end. Some water faucets, huh?
They believe in protest and ritual defiance, and yet they're willing to participate fully in the rules established by the police for these games, fully expecting that they'll come out all right if they make the flag.
Squeeze, fire.
Are you expecting to die in the next 2 or 3 days?
I expect to die in the next 2 or 3 minutes.
Your function with this weapon is to hit a man-sized figure. You don't have to put out his left eye, you don't have to get him right in the heart, you don't have to hit his kneecap or pick the heel off his boot as Wyatt Earp used to do.
How old are you?
I'm 20.
All you have to do is hit a man-sized figure from here to there.
I don't think they're trying to kill us, really.
Get him in that area. He's going down. He's got to go down, and he's going to go down hurting.
I think they're just making it difficult.
They're not going to shoot you. This isn't Mexico or other countries where they shoot people like you.
What would you do to us if you were in control? What would you be very humanitarian with people like us?
I would try to be. I would make more of an effort than you are.
What is your moral code? What would you do for this country?
You're sitting back enjoying the adulation of all these kids. You're indulging in this self-gratification. You're indulging in some sort of mental masturbation. You're obtaining.
What you're doing right now.
How could they have any faith in a man who makes a mockery out of everything that we stand for? The home, true love. You haven't got the first idea about love with your love-ins. You really haven't.
If it was up to you kind of people, we would just shut down these factories, we'd burn them down, we'd all go out and panhandle in the street. Then what kind of society would we have then? What kind of, how would you feed people then? So you want us to work and support you, that's what you want.
There is enough food, enough wealth in this country to take care of everyone in this country.
If everybody
there is. If we work
and
for
everyone
work,
isn't
we all
being
go around
taken
the
care of.
streets. Or to go around the streets and have orgies all the time and sleep in the streets
I'm not
and
going
in the
around
park.
the streets having orgies all the time.
You're not, huh? And burning down buildings and
I'm as
bombing things?
concerned as you are about the direction of this country. You know, I really feel sorry for you. You know, we're the same age. And here you are defending a miserable existence. Don't you realize how you're being exploited? How the people who control the money are diminishing your existence to working in a fucking dirty factory which puts black smoke up in the air, which pollutes the entire world, and you're working your ass off saving money for your kids, getting pennies while they're making hundreds and hundreds of dollars? Don't you realize how you're being duped? How they get your head fucked with? How they have you indoctrinated? How they have you conditioned? How they've misinformed you? Don't you see this? Are you that blind?
Some new kick comes along, some new drug comes along, you'll try it.
What about some new kick like genocide, like imperialism, like napalm warfare? What about those new kicks which this country puts in practice?
This is a Remington Wingmaster Model 870 shotgun, 12 gauge.
What about the corruption? What about the police brutality? What about the oppression of the minority groups that this country is?
Responsible, you're sick.
What? I am not immoral, Mrs. Juergens. You want to know what's immoral? Do you want me to tell you what's immoral? War is immoral. Poverty is immoral. Racism is immoral. Police brutality is immoral. Oppression is immoral. Genocide is immoral. Imperialism is immoral. This country represents all those things.
It's loaded with double-aught buckshot.
When are we gonna have love? When are we gonna have brotherhood, huh? We're not, as long as there's this little fucking Hitler.
Each individual cartridge has 9 ball bearings in it.
And you're sending all the oppressed people to their death! Don't you know that? Are you that fucking stupid?
Another outburst and you'll be taken for an accord!
It has no choke on it. The gun has no choke on it whatsoever. So consequently, the buckshot just flies out at any and every direction.
Insane people
Restrain
who go
the
like
defendant.
Jews and who murder the children of their country.
And your record, what does that show?
What is mine? What is the
Destroying
record
the
of this
country from
country
within.
show?
Destroying the country from within. This is all your record shows.
You're destroying
Take
the
over
world
the
from
capital.
within.
Anything that is in front of you is completely and totally out of luck when you point this thing and pull the trigger.
What does LSD have to do with death, with murder, with war, with injustice, with poverty, with racism?
Take the prisoner out of here! Get him out of here! Get him out of here! Get him out of here!
You have to pump to jack a shell in the chamber. You have to pump to eject it.
I was at a poetry reading and to rally for demonstration.
Temperature 93 degrees.
Police came in and they swept us off the stage.
People are just being killed for nothing, hauled off to jail, hauled off to prison. I mean, the feeling is there is no feeling.
Every day you walk outside your house, some guy takes a shot at you, man. Some pig in a goddamn uniform.
Watch the pattern of the buckshot on this.
And they say, this is democracy.
Can you see the disbursement on that? It looks like about 6 or 7 feet.
We gotta wait for the first man to come.
Jump up. The first
Right.
one. What if more than one comes up?
An individual carrying the thing like this with the safety on might see someone that would be an antagonist.
Who's gonna be a decoy? Who can be a decoy?
Can you go out there?
All
All right. God, you got no chance, man. You gotta hit a man in the right spot if he's wearing a helmet.
Slip the safety off and go like that.
How would you try and remedy what's happening in America?
I don't think it can be done. I think it just got to evolve out of it. And it'll happen. And I think it'll happen violently.
Anything between those 2 shots is blown away. It is no longer causing you any trouble. It does not exist anymore. It has one purpose alone, when loaded with buckshot, that is to kill. Not to disperse, not to harry, not to wound, to kill. Use it for that fact when you have to do so.
Time remaining 50 minutes. What are your feelings towards the police in this country?
Well, I really don't think they're too different from anybody else.
Pigs are pigs. I mean, pigs have always been pigs.
The street cleaners of the public conscience.
They're just like hired killers.
These people have been sent out here unarmed.
Unarmed? Okay. I don't think Jack did anything to him. This is going to be the first revolution in the history of man when the pigs were in the upper class, though.
I think they're in the same boat as the people we left back at the house. They have a point of view, and they're willing to use any sort of means to back it up.
I think they're doing a job. They're just taking orders. They're working. They're getting paid for what they do.
Can you tell us what happened here?
What happened's obvious. What I don't know is why. What happened is that young man that you see over there with that white cloth on his head is dead.
They get paid more than social workers. They get paid more than college professors. They have a real stake in maintaining the status quo.
He was attacked. Signs point to at least 3 people, maybe 4. He was stabbed to death with the spires of a Joshua tree.
Do you think this man's death will cause any further antagonism on the part of your officers towards these people?
No doubt about it. None whatsoever. Each man right now is thinking that could have been him under the same set of circumstances, and it undoubtedly would have been. There's no doubt about the fact that it will cause more antagonism, and I think antagonism is a very mild word on the part of the men in my command toward these individuals. We have a specific plan of action that we execute just in case of circumstances such as these. And as soon as the National Guard, the individuals, as you know, that found the body, informed me that this had taken place, well, those measures went into effect.
2 columns to Sandy Hill, boys. 2 columns to Sandy Hill, boys.
Run a check on the suspect. It seems that earlier conviction is possession of firearms. 637, unit 37, come in. What's your next stage, Gary?
Do you feel the country is on the brink of fratricide?
Yes, it's already there. It's already been happening for some time.
Did they take any weapons from the deputy?
They have his patrol car, of course. They have a .357 Magnum. They have a Remington 12-gauge Wingmaster shotgun, at least 50 rounds of ammunition. They, of course, have his billy club. They also took his shoes. They are armed. They are dangerous. They have a shotgun that is the most dangerous weapon that I can imagine. We will use force against them. We will not take any chances with these individuals. They've killed once. I don't like to lose men.
Did any of you know the deputy that was killed?
No, I didn't know him that well.
No.
Just not
Just
a matter
very
of
briefly.
personal vendetta. Quite the opposite. We're not doing this for ourselves. We're doing this for the people who pay the taxes.
It's the thing that appalls me is that it seems to be almost understood. You know, it doesn't have to happen this way. If we can somehow create a change of spirit, a change of mind, it doesn't have to happen, but it is.
Have you ever killed a man yourself?
Yes, I have.
What did you feel about that at the time?
There was no feeling at all.
To all units, suspects are armed and dangerous. Intercept with extreme caution.
Do you think you're going to have to resort to violence
No, I hadn't thought about violence at all. I don't think there'll be any need for violence.
I think that's sort of what we're working against, actually, but it just seems like there's no other way to defend ourselves. I guess that violence might be necessary, yes.
I can't see the good in fighting back. If they kill me, then what difference would my politics, what difference would any politics make? I would be dead.
You quit your job, and you said you don't like to work for other people. Now, I can understand that a little bit. I mean, I have some of the same feelings sometimes. You get
William Luke Valerio, unemployed, age 30.
Like I've taken hunting trips sometimes, or just gone off fishing or something for a couple of weeks, leave the old lady at home or something, but you seem to be on vacation all the time. Is that your view of life, just to be on vacation all the time?
I do what I want to do.
Defendant Valero, do you understand why you are before this tribunal?
I don't want to go in the army.
If our country were attacked within the hour, would you join the United States services?
I would not.
You would not. Defendant Valerio, if I were to tell you I was going to wad up this piece of paper and hit you with it, what would you do?
I would duck.
2 p.m., KPCR News. B-52 bombers today launched a massive airstrike against the North Vietnamese armament center of Pendong, only 15 miles from the border with China.
It's the whole violent thing in America. I don't know when it's going to stop. I don't know what would really bring it all to an end.
You believe it's obviously getting worse?
Very much so. I'm
All the
afraid.
time.
With the war and with the minorities, the poor, it is constantly getting worse, and it seems that more and more people are willing to turn to violence to take care of it. And it seems to be escalating into an unthinkable sort of a situation.
I don't think they're sincere. If they're sincere, why couldn't they riot in the wintertime?
2:23 p.m. Temperature 101 degrees.
Have you ever gone hunting, or have your dad or your parents or any of your friends taken you out hunting?
I've never gone hunting.
You never shot a gun or
I've
rifle?
never shot a gun in my life.
You don't know how to handle one or nothing?
I don't know how to handle one.
You don't like to handle one?
I don't like guns.
What were you charged with?
Refusing induction.
Agent Donovan, will you read that charge again?
Charge 3, conspiracy to aid and abet others in the unlawful flight to avoid the draft.
How did you refuse? Did you
I just ignored the letter. Just didn't do anything.
You say you don't like to travel, and still, according to the charges, you try to flee the country because of the draft evasion.
That's right.
How do you reconcile that?
I don't like to travel, but it was necessary. I wanted to get to some place where I could stay, be in one place, be left alone to do what I want to do, instead of all the hassles that I was having down here.
What happened? Did they come and take you?
They broke in.
Mr. Valerio, you've testified that you live alone. Do you listen to the radio? Do you have a television set?
I didn't testify that I live alone. I don't have a television set. I have a radio.
Do you know what's going on in the world today? Do you realize what's happening about the Chinese crossing the North Vietnam border, and we are now bombing within 5 miles of the border? Do you realize the intensity with which this situation faces the United States of America?
I know it's getting very hard to live here.
When they arrested me, they roughed me up somewhat, and that's when my wife was arrested.
I was just trying to help him. They charged me with assault on a police officer.
The only legitimate thing that I can think of doing is to use my body or well-being or freedom or life as to back up what I say. At another time, the honorable thing or the right thing to do might be to be a policeman or to be president. Right now, I think the honorable thing to do is to be a criminal.
Would you describe your work as committed socially?
Yes, it's committed. It's not committed to the revolution. It's committed to sanity.
The normal human body temperature is 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. An increase in body temperature of 6 to 8 degrees above normal for any extended period means death.
I don't know what any of us could do. Maybe if we all got together for one day or for 1 week and just stopped doing everything and said, this has to stop. The fucking war has to stop. We have to do something about all the hate here.
You were 2 weeks in jail before being brought out here. How did the police treat you?
Like we were trash?
They were really, really bad.
There you are there. All right. Hit the lights.
The pins are coming!
You are apprehended. Your part in the course is concluded.
Get her! Go on, get her! We were just told by the senator the menace that faces us around the world, and here you sit as if this was a picnic. Here you've got shackles on, you've got handcuffs on, and this is a picnic.
Stop or we'll shoot you, kill! Stop!
You sit there so quietly, so calmly. This is sickening. You're a traitor, that's right. Get it!
Perhaps you haven't had the guards put the cuffs on tight enough. Maybe it'll make sounds of pain for you then.
Out of order, irrelevant.
Perros.
We get in fake. Maybe the others had the right idea.
There's no reason to react against that, though. It'll just bring it down worse on all of us.
He loves this country, but I want to go to Canada. And how does he want to go to Canada? Evade the draft.
Do you think they did this because they were Chicano, or?
It has nothing to do with Chicanos. They're going to do exactly the same thing to all of us. We have to get out of here. This is the first place they're going to come looking for us.
Come on, stay still! Stop!
They could be right behind any one of these little dunes right here.
Come on! Check in for 47. Picked up 2 of them. Time check for 17.08 on the mark. 1 male, 1 female, both Mexican.
Temperature 107 degrees.
Why don't you stop following us, huh?
We're going to make a choice between punishment park or prison. And he'll have to make that choice himself.
You don't think you can cop out this time?
The desert heat is a killer. It will burn your skin, sap your strength, cut your efficiency, drain the moisture from your body, and thicken your blood unless you drink water. There will probably be a daily temperature difference of 45 degrees between daytime heat and pre-dawn cool.
Dawn on the second day. temperature, 62 degrees.
Do we need three of you?
Yes, sir. You have been given a go.
Nancy Jane Smith, popular singer and composer, age
Nancy Jane Smith, defense
19.
counsel. I understand that the defendant does not wish to have you as a counselor. Is that true?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. She wishes to defend herself.
Do you wish to stay? All right.
How do you feel?
My hands, my fingers are numb.
I'm afraid of my feet. They
I was so cold I threw up.
Did you hear the patrol cars during the night?
We heard them in the distance, but they didn't come near us.
Well, I'd like to know something. I want to find out a little bit more about you. You were arrested for assaulting a police officer. What'd you do to him?
I was trying to keep him from arresting me.
The songs that she composes are of a seditious nature. She advocates the overthrow of the government in many of her songs. One of them I'll read right now. Evidence, Nancy Smith, Sedacious Literature. Santa Claus is coming with a bag of bombs and guns. Santa Claus is here, the revolution has come. Grab a handful, dip in quick. Grant the slogan, make it stick. Right on, baby. Get yours and fight like crazy. We can win, blow up buildings, watch them fall for hours that we spend standing in the hall.
Oh.
Well, here's the real revolutionary
No.
chorus.
I've got
But your
some
mother
others,
and father are proud of you, aren't they?
Yes.
Typical
juvenile stuff.
I'd like to hear you sing one.
Celibate ass lickers, riding cars made of gold, taken from the poor, they've gathered to their fold. Father Pig leads a flock of sheep. Father Pig makes ready for the slaughter. Celibate snatchmen know rhythm is the way. Poor ladies get the babies, but Father Dick has the say.
I don't want to hear
You know what
anymore.
snatch is? You know what snatch is?
I don't
You
have
even
to
know
be
it's-
insulted
how
by
can you
this
understand? You don't know the
little
words I
gutter
say.
snipe.
Due to the psychiatric evaluation of the prisoner, these songs do show neurotic and schizophrenic tendencies.
Is that your opinion, dummy?
No, here's what I'm interested in. You came from a wealthy family. I would assume you had the best of things that this country has to offer people. Now, why are you turning against the country?
My parents taught me to think, and my parents gave me certain values of honesty and,
Taught you to think. Taught
Yeah,
you
that's
to
why I'm
Tell
here.
people to throw bombs, too?
No, they taught me to think, and they gave me a certain set of moral values. They don't have anything to do with sex, lady.
Moral values.
I still have all of them quite intact.
And what about the songs you write?
What
You
about
call
them?
those moral?
Yeah, I call them moral. I call them a lot more moral than what you're doing sitting right there.
Well,
Fuck off.
You don't want to talk about your background.
Why should I watch my language?
You don't want to talk about it.
Fuck off. That's all I gotta say to you,
What's your
idiot.
language, defendant?
Oh, shut up. What do you think I care what you tell me to do? You're gonna kill me in a little while, old
Stop
man.
that language. That's
Why?
part of all the other moral crap.
Moral crap?
Yes.
You said crap!
Yes, you make me say
said
crap.
crap.
You make me very
Shoot that
angry.
woman!
I can't
She
stand
said
people
crap.
like you that go around
Sit down,
destroying our
defendant.
system. Now, what you're doing to the children of this
What
country,
I'm doing
yes,
to-
what you are
I'm
doing, you
doing to
make
the
me
children-
sick. You're a crazy girl. You ought to be
make-
locked up.
I make you
Yes.
locked up. Why should I be locked up? Why don't you shoot
Because
me?
you're a schizophrenic. You're cuckoo.
Miss Smith, I'd like to remind you that your violent overthrow of the government, financially rewarding songs, really gives you a peculiar kind of freedom, a freedom to have your lovins, a freedom to have your pot. Tell me, what is your philosophy of government? What do you believe in?
I would take every single man that isn't in this country, that's in a uniform in another country where he doesn't belong, and bring him back home and take him out of his uniform and put him back in the world. I would take every single prisoner out of their cages and put him back in the world. I would take every single hungry person and feed him. I would take every single rich person and take away their money. I would take every single person that's sick and tired of working jobs like on the auto lines and things like that, and just work for years and years for nothing and never getting ahead. Where people in colleges, I had to quit school because I got so fucking paranoid, because after Kent State, I realized that I could put on a cheerleader sweater and a I Love America pin, and the people that were shooting weren't even aiming, and it wouldn't do me any good. I could walk out of a classroom and be on my way to lunch and get killed just as easily as I was in the front line of a barricade in a demonstration. Do you have any children?
Yes, I have.
How many children do you have?
And you've tried to get into the mind of some of my children, haven't
Lady,
you?
your children were brainwashed by watching Donna Reed and Father Knows Best, not by me. By the time they listened to me, they were past their formative years. How many children?
I have 3
You have
children.
3 children. How would you feel if one of them died?
I'd feel terrible.
course has now been in progress 24.5 hours.
Let us get back to the charges, and these are very serious charges, and I'll read them again.
I have a charge to make against you.
What? The first
I have a charge to make against you, old man. You old, sick man.
2, conspiracy to incite to
How many
riot,
kids
which
have you
means
led
leading
to the slaughter?
young
How many kids are out there
kids
now? Who's getting killed by the guns that I hear go off? How many children? How many children have been through these tribunals? No!
How many
children have you killed? Who's dying right now? Do you
sent
care?
those kids out there. Nancy
I sent those kids out there. Who's died? Who's dead? That was sitting right here. Do you know? Do you care? You didn't put them out there. You sat here, and with all the arrogance in the world, all the arrogance.
I don't have to listen to that
Putting
stuff.
your words back into your mouth and you don't even hear them.
Cut it out!
You have no real way of running anything. You're a phony.
Don't you dare
Real
talk
lady.
to me like that.
Don't you
There's no
dare
question
kill
about
me.
this girl being a definite communist threat to this nation.
Each member of this group is now lacking about 2 quarts of body water.
I believe in destroying everything that you stand for and destroying everything that you're trying to do. Yes. I'm complaining. I have the right to complain.
Defendant,
about
sit
what
down.
You're gonna do to me.
Restrain the
You're gonna
defendant.
kill me. You're gonna put a bullet.
Well, basically, we've found ourselves in a situation where we had what we thought was the entire group of militants pinned down and called upon them to surrender. They did not do so, and you see the consequences of their decision.
Silence the defendant! Silence the defendant!
Senator, this is what I was getting at before. See, you may have kids or something to know what they're like to grow up and everything. I've got a couple of young kids. How are you going to raise them?
We have at least 1, probably 2 more running around.
What do you plan to do now?
Well, I have this gun. We'll try to find a place in the high ground and wait for them. And if they don't come, we'll get out.
Of course, we know we'll get them.
It's like this whole fucking game is like a revolution, and we're in it.
If we don't get them, the desert will.
And we've got to either win or we've got to die.
Where was he hit?
Almost that close to the butt. Back of the neck. This type of individual, I don't much care where they're hit, just so they're hit.
And if we do win, we're gonna wreck this fucking establishment and we're gonna wreck this fucking game.
They don't understand what's going on in this country, the national emergency. They have no idea, no loyalty, no understanding. And they respond with violence.
And destructive.
They know what the hell they're doing. They're not that
And the
dumb.
words in her songs, did you hear that? Throw bombs, blow up, kill, kill. And who do they kill? Innocent people. And then she drives the kids here and then she says, we did it.
Temperature 98 degrees.
One of the main reasons for having punishment park in the first place is because of the fact that with the type of crime that we have being committed today, the civil crime and the social crime both, we're filling up our prisons faster than we can build new facilities.
Wait, I think we have just a discussion.
Watch this hand.
Who looks good?
I don't think
All these people are just
Senator Harris.
Yes, sir.
May we ask you what you feel about
Your duty on the board today. What do you feel about disciplining of young people, for example?
Well, I think a number of these young people remind me of a situation I even had at home. I think it was one of my own daughters. I think for about a year we had quite a difficult time with her. She just didn't believe that there would be any kind of discipline at home, and we sort of worked that thing out.
May I ask you how you worked it out?
Well, I kept punishing her, and she kept responding until finally, after the year was up, we worked it out quite well. You know, you've got to remember that these children of ours today are much like skilled and trained, highly bred horses, you know. They're trained to go around that track, but then you've got to sort of hold them in, because if you let the reins out, why, after all, they'll just run around that track without any control at all.
Well, we do get a few oddballs before this tribunal, especially that one wouldn't kill a fly. He said he'd take one of these cups and catch the fly and take it outside and and let it free. He's probably at 1A now, or in Indochina, I believe. I wouldn't know.
You know, I'll tell you the truth, I'd rather be a lot more places than in the desert. I have a wife and family back home, and I guess, you know, there's certain things you have to do for your country, but all the abuse you have to take, and just seeing these characters having no respect for this country, and it's difficult. We sit there, we try and give them a chance to have a fair say, but they just don't seem to appreciate it.
Oh, it's a very difficult job to do, it really is. But somebody has to do it, you know. We do our best.
What would you do if one of your own children appeared before you on the tribunal?
Oh, my God. No, my kids wouldn't do that. They really wouldn't. They've been trained differently.
I see a running pattern of paranoia in these youngsters.
This may sound funny, but it isn't funny. I think there should have been more spank and less Spock in America, and our youth wouldn't be what they are today.
These are political criminals. They are not social criminals. These are political criminals. They have to be shown that their way is wrong. We cannot show them that their way is wrong by killing them, by building gas chambers, or by setting up machine gun bunkers and firing them and covering them over with bulldozers. This is not the way we would like to operate.
What's wrong?
Oh!
Fuck! Fuck!
Oh!
Let's get going.
Get the fuck out of here.
We're going where?
Let's try to make it to the flag.
How in the hell are we gonna make it somewhere? We don't have no water!
There's no water that way.
They're just playing with your mind until they kill you.
What would your forefathers have done, Mr. Calder, if during the Revolution they were all conscientious objectors?
The majority of my forefathers were conscientious objectors. It would include the people from England, too. And in that case, they would have been acting justly towards the people in the colonies.
James Arthur Kohler,
Wouldn't have had to
pacifist,
have a war or anything else
age
anyway.
20.
Probably wouldn't have been over here killing the Indians if they were acting justly and conscientious objectors.
Tell me, Mr. Calder, are you aware of the crisis in this country? How deeply do you feel about the present crisis of the nation, of the world at large, and the responsibility that we have to this crisis? What responsibility do you have as a citizen to this country?
My responsibilities as a citizen in this country do not include killing for it.
Then
I'm not going any further.
I'm not.
They want us to try and break out. They want us to become violent. They want us to be like them.
I'm not gonna go that way.
I'm not gonna let them play games with me anymore.
Hey, anyone that wants to come with us, come on.
They've been
Murder.
playing games with you for years. Listen, they want to blow your brains out. Really,
Brother,
you
they're
get out there, they're going to kill you. Straight and
They're
simple.
gonna kill you before they
That's
kill
it.
us.
See that? That's what'll kill us. Games like that.
Are you familiar with St. Thomas Aquinas?
Yes, I am.
I think he had this to say about a just war. He laid down a proviso for a just war, and he said this, I think, that the war must be decided upon a legitimate authority, and secondly, that its objective must be to vindicate justice, and that thirdly, it must be waged with a just intent. Now, this was during the 12th century, before this present time, and he understood what a just war meant. Can't you understand that the policy in Indochina that we're in is even justified by a 12th century philosopher?
Senator, those provisos came from St. Augustine originally. And St. Augustine had a fourth proviso, which just shows the total absurdity of considering any war just. It is that as a war must be waged under the control of a loving disposition, that no man is fit to inflict punishment until he has banished hate from his heart.
Temperature 109 degrees. Distance to the United States flag 27 miles.
Defendant, I take it from your philosophy you're opposed to slavery. Is that right?
Yes, I am.
And the Civil War was fought to free the slaves.
No,
That
it
was a
wasn't.
just war.
Speak up, will you?
It wasn't fought to free the slaves, and it wasn't a just war.
It was a just war because the black people themselves fought for freedom. Would you have fought on the side of the black people to gain their freedom in that war? Because
Black people haven't gained their freedom. What do you think that's happening right now is all about?
We know from our records that there are only a handful of black militants that are running the so-called People's Army. It does not represent the community. You are trying to overthrow the government with a handful of people that...
Charles Robbins, member of the People's Army, age 25.
Martin Luther King was opposed to your violence. And you're talking about a people's army when you're only a handful.
To deal with the thing in terms of what you call black militants, and dealing with the trying to overthrow the government, the thing is, what we're trying to save people because the government is overthrowing itself. My loyalty is to the people. You know, I feel that people are the most important thing, and that people have been left out while cats that run this country have just moved and shitted all over them. Can you dig?
That you dwell on the black problem.
Well, it's quite obvious because I'm black.
It so happens that I have been in the ghettos of Washington, D.C., and I have seen the schools in the ghettos, and we are trying to educate, and yet you're trying to take over our programs? Is that what you're trying to offer us, some of our own programs?
No, the thing is, we don't want to take over your programs. We don't want to be bothered with your programs because we know your programs are very corrupt.
You believe you're a separatist or a racist? Which?
I'm neither. I'm an internationalist.
You have no chance in hell going the way you're going.
2 surviving members of Corrective Group 637
Let that man go.
have seized a West German sound technician as hostage.
We're trying to save the people.
What way are you going to try to save people?
Through massive education. We believe in education through example. We have very functional programs. Example, right on.
What example are you? You're a
No.
revolutionary. What
And your newspaper
example do you
shows
set for your
a black militant with a gun, shoot the pigs, shoot the pigs.
I believed in this, and it's simple and quite plain, that when fired upon, I believe in firing back.
1, 2, shoot! 3!
Get the bitch. It's just a matter of staying alive.
It's like a game they're playing with us. You either win or you die.
Pigs are running madly through our community, slaughtering off our children and our women. And the truth in America is that America is a sick society. America is full of motherfuckers who have shitted on people who have...
afraid to die?
No, I'm not afraid to die. That's quite obvious.
Why are you people leading your people into the mass hysteria? When I walked through Washington, D.C., I asked them questions why they were rioting.
Hey, man, you're always in Washington, D.C. You're always in Washington, D.C., but you ain't doing nothing in Washington, D.C. Matter of fact, you're out here in California right now.
That's right.
Sit on a committee that is supposed to be from this particular area, you know, but you're not even from this area because you spent most of your time in Washington, D.C. How come you're not in Washington, D.C. relating to the problems
Does that
in
make me a
Washington, D.C.? No, I'm not going to have to call you a pig because you know what you are better than I do. What are you talking about, a mad dog? Define what... Would you like for me to define what a politician is? A politician is nothing but a debater. All that you do is debate issues, you fat pig, you meathead. That's all that you are because you a lying sucker. You lying to the camera. You lying to your mama. You lying to everybody. But every time I hear you open up your mouth, all I hear is point, you pig. That's all I hear is point. You know, because you ain't got no humanity in you because you're a pig. You lying punk.
Restrain the defendant.
Oh,
Restrain the defendant.
Mr.
Shut him up. Shut him up. Gag him. Shut him up. Defense counsel. Shut him up.
What seems quite clear now is that instead of trying to bring the estranged and excluded Americans, such as these people, back into the national community, the administration has chosen to accept and exploit the present division within the country and to side with what it considers as the majority. Instead of a politics of reconciliation, it has chosen a politics of polarization.
Have you discussed what you'll do if you have to leave him, or will you try and take him with you?
We've never thought about it.
Here, okay, I'll take it for a while.
Morning, on the 3rd day.
Yeah, I'll give you time to waste. Let's go. Come on.
When the human body has suffered a dehydration of between 6 to 10%, it experiences dizziness, difficulty in breathing, decreased blood volume, indistinct speech, and finally, an inability to walk. Distance to the United States flag, 23 miles.
Listen, I'd like to know about this business of violence on the campus. I'd like to know why you people do these things. Where you know, a lot of us work hard for a living to build those schools and pay taxes and build these universities for our kids to go to and so on. And you people come along and just burn them right down.
Mr. Reynolds,
yes.
did you want to make a speech or did you want to answer your question?
You'll get a chance, defense counsel.
Listen, students don't burn buildings down, okay? That's just a myth. It's just a sensationalized myth, you know, brought about by the press.
Oh, I don't see it on
Intentional
TV?
students don't burn buildings down, and besides, I don't advocate violence.
Alison
I'm a serious
Michener,
political
radical organizer of women's unions, co-founder of the National Committee Against War and Repression, age 23.
It does any good. It's a waste of time. You know, you try to destroy the Bank of America, you try to break in a window or something like that, they can build it right up. They have the money, they have the power. That's not the way you change things.
Luckily, I'm glad I'm here. Some of the guys gotten pretty upset since the deputy incident the other day. I'm afraid they're going to shoot first and ask questions later.
Have you actually heard some of the men say that?
Oh yeah, they've really gotten paranoid.
I think that people become violent when they are deprived of their basic human needs. I think that they become violent when that is their only alternative to achieving the satisfaction of those needs. A major component of our democratic society comes from the preamble to the Constitution, which states that an individual is guaranteed the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? The rights to life. And it seems paradoxical to me that a nation with such ideals and such economic power still cannot fulfill, or seems unwilling to fulfill, basic human needs of food, clothing, and shelter.
The decoy seems to have worked very well. It's brought them out in the open. They reached the decoy.
A country with this kind of economic power and those kind of ideals still, at this point, can't feed 11 million people, and that's according to a government survey.
Your participation in the course is terminated.
Temperature 111 degrees.
Still can't feed 11 million people, still can't clothe those people, even though they're producing those kinds of things in overabundance. Now, why is that? And now if you have someone who can't get food stamps and who can't get on welfare and who is starving, that kind of person has two alternatives, right? He or she can either sit there and watch his children starve, or he can go out and fight for what he needs.
Stop where you are. Sit down, cross your legs, and keep your hands behind your head. Stop where you are. Sit down where you are. Cross your legs and put your hands behind your head. You are under arrest.
I think they can't hear you.
Stop where you are. Stop. Stop where you are. Stop. Sit down. Go back or I shall be shoot to kill.
I don't think they can hear you. Just a minute.
Get back. There seems to be some confusion here. Get back out of the way. Stop where you are. Stop. Sit down.
Now come on, slow up. They can't hear you.
Sit down where you are.
Sit down.
Sit down.
Sit down. He can't.
Sit down.
He can't. Gosh. Jesus, oh my God. Fuck. Christ, there's another one. Get the guns.
Dear Lord, we pray for Harold.
Violence is inherent in this society. You don't seem to understand that.
Now, you fucking bastards. Get out of here!
Like the movement went through a long kind of history and was very reluctant to make any kind of radical changes. It was very reluctant to become violent. But we saw that the government would only make changes when we did become violent. Had to come down and intervene when we were trying to register voters.
Yes, violence, Mr. Chairman. I think that we should realize the dangerous extent to which the violence of the students...
Do you wish to floor defense counsel?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Then get up.
I think that we should realize the dangerous degree to which the violence of the students is now being overplayed, and the violence of the establishment is being deliberately minimized.
You are trying to put radicals on on trial as scapegoats for the problems which stem from your own system.
It's rather appropriate. Harold was a poet. There's no place for a poet in this culture.
It's so hard to have any hope about anything. Though after you see how completely inhuman people can be.
We must draw this cross-examination to a close.
There was no need to do that. You know, like I'm sitting here chained in the chair, and you don't need to send these people you train to behave like mad dogs.
I have a very important part of the hearing to talk to you about. The amnesty.
I don't even know what's important, Mr. Chairman.
The amnesty provision,
really sick of all
and I want to read it to you. You're signing of a voluntary pledge of loyalty that you will not again participate in any form or manner of extra-legal or subversive political activity, and that you will not again hinder state or federal authorities in matters relating to safeguarding of the national security.
I am loyal to the people of this country, Your Honor, or whatever it is your title is. I am not loyal to the government, because the government is against the people.
No! Hands behind your head! Come out!
Don't shoot him! Don't shoot him! They're all right!
Shoot!
They're all right!
Tell him not to
Don't
shoot!
shoot! They're all right!
Tell that fucker not to shoot! Tell him not to shoot! Don't shoot!
We don't have any guns!
Tell that nigger put his hands up where I can see him! Fuck you! Just tell him
Shut up, window!
Shut up!
Come on! There's a camera crew here!
I don't give a fuck who's there.
Come on, ease up!
Yes! Murder!
Put your hands behind your head.
They're just waiting to kill us!
Take pictures of this! They're gonna kill us! Take pictures of it! Watch out!
I think there is a chance for some people to make it through this course, and I think we're going to do it. All we have to do is not lose hope and keep on going.
You got it.
We don't have any guns!
Watch them! Please, watch
Sheriff
them,
Edwards!
please! Come
Sheriff
on!
Edwards, leave them!
Come
The
on!
only choice is whether to submit to this self-destruction passively or violently.
Don't hurt them!
That's the only choice I see.
Fucking liar! You shoot us in
Now
the
come
back!
on, keep back now!
So you feel that, just as you feel that there's a reason for going on through the course, you feel that this is the same way to try and deal with what you feel is wrong with the system in America?
I think that's right. Yes, I think if you play it by the rules of the people who set up the game, even though they're stacked against you, it's the only way to possibly win the game.
Don't do that! Don't do that! Don't do that! Don't do that! Don't! Get out!
You goddamn motherfucking weekend warriors!
You killer! Oh, God! You killer, motherfucker! Oh, God!
Motherfucker!
You murderer! Cut!
Kill him!
Oh, God! Leave him alone! Leave him alone! It was an accident! It was an accident!
Put that fucking rock down, boy!
Cut the camera! Cut the camera! Shoot! God damn it!
But I feel very little hope for us.
I don't see any hope either way.
It's just simply a matter of what you believe in. Either you believe in nonviolence or you don't, and if you do, many times there's only one path left to you, and you have to take that, no matter what it means to you.
Oh, come on, help these people! Help these people! Help them! Help them!
That one's dead. That one's dead.
Oh, you fuckers! You fuckers! You shitty fucking...
Got one left alive, huh? Fucking idiots. Well, they had to fucking...
We've seen this! We've seen this! We've seen this!
That's fine.
Officer Edwards, we've seen this!
I don't give a flying
We've
fuck what
seen
you
this!
see.
This is going on NBC! We've seen this!
I don't care if you take it and jam it in your ass.
You murdering bastard! You fucking bastard!
As soon as you get through with your little hysterics, we can go on with the procedure.
Hysterics, mates. You wait till you see yourself on television.
I've been on TV before. I'm not worried about it.
Not like this, you haven't. Not like this, you haven't.
Captain, shall I call for the ambulances? Fuck the goddamn ambulances. Let the buzzard get the son of a bitches. We'll let him get him, too.
They threw rocks and...
This man shook up.
I was just...
Leave him alone.
Yeah, we
The
want to
gun
know
went off.
what-
It
we
was an
want-
accident.
we
I didn't
want
want to kill anyone.
We want to know why you
was
killed two people.
Just
leave him alone.
I don't know. It was an accident.
You mean you didn't mean to kill them?
No, I didn't want to kill anyone.
You didn't want to kill
No!
them. But you shot
No!
people.
No!
But there are two people.
No, I didn't want to kill anyone. It was an accident.
You shouldn't be
No!
carrying a gun, then.
It was a...
Leave him alone.
No, but you
Leave him
shouldn't be
alone.
carrying a gun.
I didn't want to kill
leave him
anyone. It
alone,
was an
mister.
accident.
Let him go.
How old is this kid? How old is he?
He's 18.
Well, what the hell's a kid like that doing in the National Guard if he can't use weapons?
He's trained to use them.
Trained to use him? You mean
Yeah,
he's
what do
trained
you
to-
expect with all those men throwing rocks at him?
You mean he's trained to kill people?
Yes, he is.
Well,
To
not like
defend his
this.
own country.
You mean he's trained to...
He's
Yeah, like
trained to
that he
defend
is.
his country.
You mean he's trained to kill unarmed people like that?
How would you feel if
It was an
someone started throwing
accident.
rocks at
You
you?
keep saying it's an accident, but
It was
there's
an
two people
accident. I
right there.
didn't... They were throwing rocks,
What are you
and the
gonna-
gun
Leave him
just went
alone.
off. I didn't know what happened.
But what are you going to say to their parents?
Come on, soldier, let's go. Come on, let's go.
President Nixon in San Clemente, California, today sent a telegram for reading at the Artist Variety Show. The chief executive told the artists, "We Americans are known throughout the world as forward-looking people." The president said, "The United States is in fact the symbol of progress, of hope, and of just and orderly growth."
7 flights of B-52 bombers hit guerrilla infiltration routes along the Cambodian border north of Saigon today.
The afternoon of the following day.
This has been a session marred by continual disruptive outbursts and direct defiance of judicial authority by the defendants and defense counsel. Outbursts in the form of constant murmurs. This disruption is a further example of what I've been referring to. Outbursts in this form, Marshal, you'll restrain the prisoner if he makes any more outbursts.
How can you restrain him?
Outbursts in the form of constant murmurs, snickering, and derision, shouting, profanity, and abuse. No record, no matter how skillfully transcribed, we'll have quiet here, can adequately portray the venom, sarcasm, and tone of voice employed by a speaker. This has been a session marked by guffaws, cheap theatrics, and other affectations used by the defendants in an attempt to break up these proceedings. But despite these outbursts, these proceedings have been conducted with impartiality and objectivity, as called for by the extreme seriousness of the circumstances on hand.
Just turn him loose. Turn him loose.
He will in a minute.
These proceedings, furthermore, have been conducted before a nationwide television audience in an attempt to clarify for the American people the issues at stake, as an object lesson for others who may be considering the willful and tragic path taken by the defendants who stand before us. Defense counsel, do you have anything to say as to why I should not now proceed with the sentencing?
Ladies and gentlemen of the tribunal, I would like to read you something. The streets of our country are in turmoil. The universities are filled with students rebelling and rioting. The communists are seeking to destroy our country. Russia is threatening us with her might. And the Republic is in danger. Yes, danger from within and without. We need law and order, or our nation cannot survive. We might all be forgiven for supposing those to be the words of our president. But they are not. Those words were uttered in 1932 by Adolf Hitler.
Sieg motherfucking Heil.
And we know what kind of law and order followed in that country. You ask me if I have anything to say to show cause now why sentence shouldn't be passed. Other than that, these are young people with all of life before them, full citizens of the United States of America, to whom the Constitution and the Bill of Rights apply. No, I can't think of anything.
Motherfuckers. Those bastards.
That's it. We're here. That's the flag.
We've done it.
We made it. We made it. What? What are they doing?
Lee Robert Brown, 15 to 21 years in federal penitentiary. J. Kaufman, 15 to 21 years in a federal penitentiary. William Luke Valerie, 7 to 10 years in a federal penitentiary. Nancy Jane Smith, 7 years in a federal penitentiary. James Arthur Kohler, 5 to 7 years in a federal penitentiary. Mary Ellen Mitchner, 7 to 10 years in a federal penitentiary. Charles Robbins, life imprisonment.
Your participation in the course is completed. You are to be remanded to custody.
What?
Stop right now and no harm will come to you. Stop right now and no harm will come to you. I don't care how far you've got, you better stop. Stop where you are and no harm will come to you.
We made it. Rob!
Lee Robert Brown, which do you choose, the 15 to 21 years of Punishment Park? Punishment Park. Punishment Park, so recorded. J. Kaufman, 15 to 21 years in the federal penitentiary of Punishment Park.
Hey, leave him alone. Stop that.
Why don't you just turn us loose right here? Why don't you just fucking turn us loose right here?
J. Kaufman, 15 to 21 years in the federal penitentiary or Punishment Park.
Punishment Park, and I'm heading back down here to have your troops surrounded this whole fucking tent.
William Luke Valerie, 7 to 10 years in the federal penitentiary or Punishment Park. So recorded. Nancy Jane Smith, 7 years in the federal penitentiary or Punishment Park.
Punishment Park.
So recorded. James Arthur Kohler, 5 to 7 years in federal penitentiary or Punishment Park. Take Punishment Park. So recorded. Mary Ellen Mitchner, 7 to 10 years in the penitentiary or Punishment Park. So recorded. Charles Robbins with a nod. Do you want life imprisonment or shake your head, Punishment Park?
How can he talk?
Shake your head.
He's the man with dignity of answering, huh? You're gonna kill him, you fucking idiot.
Mr. Chairman, you make me
Clear the court, clear the court. We have already made the sentences.
I feel so ashamed.
Nobody's touching the flag.
They were
They
just
started-
surrendering peaceably.
They started it.
Mark Joyce, I've heard about the American police.
Well, I'm glad you got to see it. Go ahead, tell all your friends about it.
They started it.
Postcards. But send them postcards from England, because I'm
This
tired
is
of listening
going
to
on
you.
European television, mate.
I don't
This
give a
is
good
going to
goddamn where it
Britain
goes.
And France and Germany.
Remind all you
bloody barbarians.
Remind you bloody European bastards of all the goddamn American soldiers that are dead in your goddamn country when you're talking about it.
10 minutes later.
Why did you do that?
Because the goddamn world deserved it.
Why did they?
They killed
deserve
two
it?
officers. They killed two officers, and that wasn't part of the
Stand
goddamn
back, stand
game.
back. You don't you come near us. Don't you goddamn come
You've
near
been
us.
bugging us ever since we've been here.
Don't you
And we're just
goddamn
doing our
come near
job
us.
today, and I'm tired of you hassling us.
You tell us why you did what you did.
Frankly, the same reason he did. Because they had it coming to them. They had a chance to stop. Did they stop? I'm asking you, did they stop?
Because they rushed us.
Well, that's not a reason, man. That's not a reason.
They wouldn't have rushed us if you hadn't been there trying. Oh, shit.
Come on, you were the one that started this.
I started it.
Come on, don't jump.
I told the man to stop. The captain told the man to stop. That's all there is to it. He didn't stop. He attacked me. I don't care what the fuck you think. How's that sound?
I don't even argue this.
I don't care what the hell you think. You can do what your newsreels, whatever you want.
What sort of
I don't
explanation have
care.
you got for this? This is the second night this has happened.
To you, none.
You could have... Look, man. You could have let those 4 people just come straight the way through here.
Had those 4 people wanted to do that, they could have done that. You've got to remember that we are dealing with criminals. These are people who have killed 2 of my men.
As it so happens, these poor people have not hurt a goddamn fly on the entire desert.
You think we'd let them reach that flag? You think they deserve that flag?
They happen to belong to this country as much as you do.
They want to tear that.
They care about this country as much as you
Well, what
do.
the hell are they doing out here, huh? To tear that flag down.
They gave up their right to the protection
tell
and
us what
freedom of
they're
this
doing
country
out
when
here.
they started breaking this country's laws.
They're out here,
That's what we're here for, to enforce those laws of this country. That's what we're here, that's what we do, and we do a goddamn good job of it. You're trying to make out like a big goddamn humanitarian. The only thing that you want is so you can sell this to your goddamn network and put money in your pocket.
I don't see you putting any band-aids on anybody, helping anybody out. All you want's the money for this program. Give it to me, shit.
You could have opened your ranks. You could have opened your ranks and let them go through.
No.
This happened in Chicago. It happened in Los Angeles.
Hey, buddy, were you at Chicago?
It'll happen again as long as we've got this type of element to deal with.
Get the defendants out of here.
You see what your great land is all about, right? You saw it, right?
No, we haven't cheated.
You've cheated.
We have not cheated.
You never intended to let these people finish the course from the beginning.
You're full of shit.
You've had radios.
You have your opinion.
You've obviously been under control the whole time.
You have your opinion. There is nothing that I can say that will change it, and I don't think it's worth my valuable time to talk to you.
These sons of bitches have the pay. That's bullshit.
All right, well, we'll cut. We've had enough of this.
48th Emergency Internal Security Tribunal of the Southwestern Region, as authorized by Executive Order Number 302, William C. Holger, Chairman, presiding, is hereby concluded.
What have they done to her head? Well, they bashed her about the jaw.
Since the completion of this film, one of the members of its cast, appearing as defendant Charles Robbins, has been indicted on a charge of conspiracy to bomb. The sentence on this charge has not yet been determined. For a second charge of assault on a police officer, this cast member has been sentenced to 3 years in a federal prison.